Well, we are well and truly in the middle of the slump days at the moment, where we had an episode a few weeks back and we've still got a few weeks further to go before the next one, which of course we're all looking a lot forward to, episode 6, as it's the finale. So there's really kind of slim pickings. Hopefully you guys are being entertained enough by the PvP and world versus world stuff we had going just now. I've barely touched PvP, funnily enough. I've mostly been in world versus world because it's a huge amount of playtime for that back piece to incredible levels. The difference between the world versus world back and the PvP and the fractals one is massive. But that's what I've been mostly doing. It's slim pickings, but I did want to give you guys a bit of an update on a few different things that have been going on today, including a return to Tyria 3D, which I haven't covered on the channel for, Christ, ages now. So let's see what the devs have been talking about and what's been going on. First of all, yeah, the servers have been going down. If you guys have been playing in the most recent few days, the game's had serious server issues. It's very rare for Guild Wars to have server issues, but that's definitely going on at the moment. We were actually kicked out of raiding just last night because it got so bad. Everyone was getting disconnected all over the place. Seems the devs are working on it, and it sporadically comes and then goes. I've heard all kinds of different stories about why it's going on, including deliberate DDoSing associated with the automated tournaments stuff over in PvP, though maybe those are jokes. But yeah, do be aware, hopefully by the time this video goes out, that has been cleaned. Another thing some people were expecting and were hoping I would talk about, but kind of didn't in the end, and I don't think it's amounted to anything, that Shaman did mine a little while ago something that suggested we might have a Winter's Day in Summer event. So this was something the first game did, and indeed a few different games do, where right at the sweet spot in the heat of summer, they'll throw out a Christmassy, snowy themed event where we get presents and to have fun and so forth. That was a big thing in the first game. It's probably not going to be a thing here. I think it's something to do with Black Lion chests, and the original references to Winter's Day were instead just renamed to Winters. So I wouldn't expect anything major there, though. But speaking of Shaman, there was something very cool. Now, this is a little bit older, though I haven't talked about it yet. It's to do with the feature pack. It's to do with the new Heart of the Mist, and something really interesting the devs put in there. So as you guys should know at this point, if you do really well in the leagues, or if you win the monthly tournaments, you can get access to a special VIP lobby. There are only 20 to 29 different players per month, I think it is, that even have access to this. Out of the entire player base, we're dealing with at most about 30 people. And for those people, they get to enjoy various services and stuff, but it seems the devs also hid some interesting objects in the lobby. It's a bit of a shame that this ended up getting mined. It's not necessarily that I blame Shaman for this, but it's a shame this got mined instead of one of these incredible, you know, VIP players eventually revealing it to the world, and there'd be this big special thing up here, because I like the idea, but it does seem that there's a very curious reference to perhaps things that are happening in the future of the game, future Living World episodes, future expansions, or maybe even mobile stuff. So what is it? Well, here you've got some screenshots. It seems that on a table in the corner of the VIP lobby, where no one would see it unless you are said VIP, apparently on this table in the corner is something of a mini game type thing. It's played with cards and dice. And though you can't actually, as a VIP, play the game itself, we can see various objects and references to it for the first time ever in-game on this table. This isn't like a reused asset you'd see elsewhere, just random clutter you might find in Divinity's Reach. No, this is all new, and it was all added to the client with this patch. Curiously, some of the file names apparently are referencing areas of the Crystal Deserts, which is very curious. Does this mean that maybe we've got something big on the horizon? Again, either in a Living World episode or more likely maybe even an expansion. Are we going to get some kind of weird minigame to play? It's funny though, if they do go that route, that they would choose to make some kind of new card and dice thing instead of what a lot of the community's been asking for years, stuff like Polymorph or mini bet battles and things like that, right? So there has been another idea. Some people mentioned this in the Reddit thread, and I think they were absolutely right to do so. About a year ago now, yeah, if you looked at ArenaNet's job postings, they had 2 jobs they were offering to people. One was a mobile software engineer, and another one was a posting for a mobile UI or UX designer. Mobile gaming, guys. Mobile development. Now, way back when GW2 was coming out, we did hear about this thing called the Guild Wars Extended Experience, which was this thing you'd run on like your iPads or your Android devices, and it would let you see your guildies online, or it would let you see various aspects of the game, maybe do trading post stuff while you weren't actually capable of playing Guild Wars 2, and that all ended up falling through. It wasn't a thing in the end. So last year when ArenaNet opened these job postings, were they looking to re-implement the extended experience, or were they looking for something else? Were they looking to cash in maybe on some of these mobile markets? Are ArenaNet maybe looking at another product? And I think it would be smart for them as a company to start expanding and to start making other games. At the end of the day, they do just have Guild Wars on the go at the moment, and it will only get older and older and older. So perhaps what we're seeing here with this patch and this VIP lobby is a reference to a game the devs are hoping to release to us on mobile sometimes in the future, and it's just a cheeky little look or something to that effect. We'll see what you guys think, or is it all insignificant and random and it doesn't mean anything? Also, tell me, guys, in the comments, are you happy they put it in the VIP lounge or not? I like that there's a super special weird thing that they've been put in the lounge, and it could generate a lot of hype for when people find it. But do you think it's too exclusive? 30 people a month, that's it? We'll see what you guys think. So, a little bit of other news, some other stuff that's been going on. Guild chats, as always, are continuing to go. The most recent guild chat associated with the new lobby that came in the game and the automated tournaments and stuff has only had 160 people watch the VOD. I feel so sad seeing stuff like that. So basically, as far as I can understand, nobody really watched it. I was watching the Twitch VOD with ReChat on to see how fast chat was moving at the time as well, and very few people were around. Maybe that's par for the course for guild chat when it meets PvP at the same time, but it was pretty interesting. They had 4 different PvP devs on. None of them really are frequent flyers on the show. So we had Ben Fong Langquitham, who I'm sure I'm still saying his name wrong. We had Grant Gertz, then later 2 other guys came on. Cal Cohen, who's the QA embed, I think is fairly new, and Ray Patrick, a server programmer. And they just talked about various things that were happening with this patch. For example, like the fact that the first day the automated tournaments weren't running very well, some bugs that happened with very weird tournament numbers, some allusions to they can actually run tournaments with massive numbers of teams, and they might even expand it in the future. They talked a bit about that end of match mechanic that has been added to the game also, and while they're not promising anything, one of the things they have been thinking about with that is being able to give people different emotes that will play on that end screen. And of course, we see this in other games. It makes sense that the ArenaNet might want to do that now to sell them on the gem store, or some kind of new reward from Black Lion chests or from ranking and stuff like that. We'll have to see. But so, yeah, that was the stream really. Nothing too crazy going on there. And that's it really, mostly. Now, here's the other thing I want to show you guys on today's video that I'm pretty excited about. You may have noticed that with the PvP patch, if you press M and you have a look at the world map, the world map while you're in PvP areas is huge. It shows you all of the world versus world zones. It also shows you the Heart of the Mists on there, and it has dotted around the various PvP arenas. Now, you can't actually walk north, west, south, or east and hope to get to any of those locations. They all exist as, you know, their own little islands, their own little realities that you just warp into when you go into hot joins or when you queue into something or a tournament or whatever, which is fine and kind of fitting with the mists. But you do get to see each of these locations represented on the map. Now, the funny thing is, and this has always been true with Guild Wars, if you scrutinize that map when patches have come out, you can sometimes see things slip in there that maybe the devs didn't want to. And well, that happened with this most recent patch. If you press M, if you look here, guys, there's actually a new place added. This is not the new 2v2 arena. It's called Asura Arena. And you can see the double parentheses there, I think, which essentially means it's placeholder and it's not entirely implemented yet, just yet. So there's a suggestion that we've got another PvP map coming very soon, and it's called the Asura Arena. Well, these days, with wondrous things like Tyria 3D, we can go deeper. We can actually see what this stuff looks like. So I thought I would take the time. So Shaman did actually a few days ago link this image, which presumably he mined out, showing the overlay of the map. It seems very small. It seems, again, like another 2v2 map. So maybe they're hoping to flesh out that game type, if you will, a little bit more. 2 small base icons there. So, you know, probably just the spawns of the 2 players. And we also had a screenshot from him. But, well, here we go. So this is Tyria 3D itself. If you guys don't know what this is a website where you can import your Guild Wars 2.dat to browse various assets from the game. And it will even render versions of the maps that usually Guild Wars 2 would, and it would give you some interesting insights into things maybe the devs weren't quite expecting you to have, but that you have already downloaded and that they've released onto their clients. People, for example, before Heart of Thorns came out, used this to explore Verdant Brink before the expansion was even released. And, well, we're doing something fairly similar here today. So this is the Asura Arena. Obviously, we don't get the skyboxes or the actual ones. We don't get a lot of the different effects and things. But this is the arena right here. Look at how small this is, guys. So presumably, we've got one spawn here. This would be the blue spawn. We got the red spawn over here on the other side. It does look like it would be quite a gorgeous map. Reminds me a lot of what we saw in Fractals with one of those very famous little fractals that we get to play. You got birds up in the sky here, and there's just very little going on, right? Like a central, slightly raised platform. This texture down below often represents a teleporter in Tyria 3D, though, so I don't quite know whether maybe if you fall into that pit, it will teleport you out to one of these side areas. And the map is actually a bit bigger than it first seems. Like, maybe these places are actually playable space. So maybe the secondary mechanic for this map involves coming up onto these side places for some reason. I'm really not too sure, but it does seem quite interesting, doesn't it? And this could be what the devs have in store for us on the very next PvP patch. It does seem like they've got a lot of different things that they're planning, and it's nice to see that this side of the game is obviously still being given some love and attention, though of course not all of us agree that more and more and more maps is the most important thing. Funny enough, this cube here is the same asset as we see elsewhere because it's broken, right? But they haven't shown, they've deliberately made it so that while you're in the arena, you would never see the broken side of the giant cube. You'd just spawn down here and that would be that. But yeah, so this is Asura Arena, and that's a little roundup really, guys. The best I can do after maybe 2 weeks of news. That's really what we've got. A lot shorter than a regular video. I will probably leave it off now until they start talking about the final episode, and instead I'm going to turn my attention to lore, and I'm going to start talking about all the various things that have potentially started coming up since Balthazar was reintroduced to the story. We can do some speculation about, for example, why they did faux fire stuff in the gem store, and all the juicy ideas of where we could be going forward, because the game's about to get very, very exciting, I think, as soon as episode 6 news starts dropping. So thanks very much, guys. All the links should be in the description. I hope to see you again tomorrow, where I'll probably have a Q&A or something for you first of all. And until next time, have a wonderful evening, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you shortly.